The Tomb Raider series has 25 years of legacy with the same heroine, well, kinda, but most definitely not with the same antagonist. Tomb Raider villains have ranged over the years from crazy girls to supernatural creatures, from gods wanting to take over the world to just a normal guy with a simple personal vendetta. A lot of them were very memorable, others not so much. So today, I'll be showing you my list of the best Tomb Raider villains of all time. Number 5. Marco Bartoli, Tomb Raider 2. Of course, the antagonist of Tomb Raider 2 had to be on this list, or why would I even name my channel after him? Tomb Raider 2 was my first ever Tomb Raider game, and therefore, its main villain holds a special raging place on my heart. Marco Bartoli is a leader of the Fiamma Nera, a cult that has carried out terrible acts in Italy for centuries. He resides in
Via Caravelli, Venice,
and is seeking the dagger of Cian. However, challenging Bartoli and the whole Fiamma Nera is of course Lara Croft, who is also searching for the dagger. The legend said that whoever retrieves the dagger must stab into her hearts to achieve the power of the dragon, and you know what? That's exactly what Marco Bartoli does. Lara then meets him at the dragon's lair on the main chamber where Bartoli is laid to rest after stabbing himself with a dagger, but before Lara can reach the dagger, he transforms into a Chinese dragon which serves as the game's final boss. Bartoli only met Lara a couple of times, but even though Marco had very few appearances in the game and never actually had any verbal communication with Lara, he is number 5 on this list because of the impact he had on me throughout the game, starting with when the Italian assassin commits suicide on his behalf, all the way to when he stabs himself to death. Number 4. Mathias, Tomb Raider. Mathias is the main antagonist of the 2013 Tomb Raider game, and he's placed 4th on my list because of how sickening and well elaborated his story is, and for being, in my opinion, the most interesting character in the game. Mathias have been trapped in the island of Yamatai since 1982 when his plane crashed. Over time, he started studying the island and discovered a lost Japanese civilization based around the Sun Queen Himiko, who is described as a beautiful yet enigmatic ruthless queen who ruled Yamatai thousands of years ago with the support of her storm guards. At some point, Himiko decides to speak with Mathias, telling him that she was trapped in a rotting body, and if he wanted to leave the island, all he had to do was to bring her a new vessel. He then formed a group called the Solaris, which most of the people in it were pretty much hopeless souls that were trying to escape the island, so they all followed him thinking that he was going to be their way out. He first meets Lara at the beginning of the game pretending to be a good person, thinking that he can overpower her to get what he wanted, but when he realizes that he can't, he takes Sam, which is one of the survivors of the Endurance, and runs off. Mathias' plan was to perform a fire ritual with Sam, where if for some reason she survived, it meant that she was the worthy vessel needed to wake up his queen Emiko. But in the end, all of this was for nothing, as Lara then managed to kill Mathias just moments away from completing the ritual that he wanted so badly. Number 3. The Great Grey One, Tomb Raider: The Prophecy. The Great Great One is the antagonist of the very first Tomb Raider Game Boy Advance game. She is the leader and object of worship to the Tegdubures? I can never say that name. And she's been asleep in the forest, waiting for their cult to collect all 3 magic stones that is needed to awaken her. Lara finds out about these stones as she was studying and deciphering the Forgotten Tomb of Iziliel, a book written by a mysterious medieval scholar. Lara, being the Tomb Raider thief, relic collector that she is, in this game she's searching for the 3 magic stones, and while she finds them all, she learns that the Great Great One plan is to destroy the world once she is awake. So instead of keeping or selling these magic artifacts, Lara made her way to the Great Great One's chamber, used the stones to awake and kill her to prevent any future awakenings. The Great Great One has several powers. She could throw energy daggers, fireballs, electric waves, call down lightning, revive skeletons, and she could even summon shadows to kill Lara. But to be honest, the only reason she is on this list is purely because of nostalgia. I was 10 years old when this game came out, and I remember spending a lot of money that I received from Christmas buying a Game Boy, a Pokemon Ruby, and this Tomb Raider game. The game didn't age well, of course, but it was really a dream come true playing Tomb Raider on the go back in the day, and I remember really enjoying every second of it. Number 2. Joachim Karel, Angel of Darkness. Karel is a character from Angel of Darkness and the game finals boss. He is a corporate legal mastermind based in Paris and is one of the members of a group called the Cabal, a powerful alliance of 5 mages and sorcerers in the 13th and 1400s that these days have as prime objective obtaining a set of artifacts known as the Obscura Paintings. Karel was supposedly working for Peter van Eckhart, one of the other remaining members of this group, who was planning to resurrect an extinct cross-angelic race known as the Nephilim. He believed that using the power of the Nephilim would help him and the Cabal have dominating power over the world. However, what he didn't know is that Karel has been secretly manipulating him to make things done in order to revive the Ancient Sleeper, one of the last of the Nephilim race. At the end of the game, Karel double crosses Eckhart, stabbing him with Lara's last shard right to the forehead. He then reveals to Lara that he is a Nephilim and has the ability of shapeshifting. While explaining his intentions and plans to Lara, Karel changes his appearance to Bouchard, Ludic, and even to Curtis, and then when Lara sees the symbol on his hand, she realizes that it was him who killed her mentor Werner van Croyd in his apartment in the form of Eckhart. Lara then fights him and eventually Karel is killed by a powerful light beam shooting from the sleeper that is destroyed by Lara when she closes an artifact to his leg. I know, weird. But anyway, Karel is placed as number 2 on this list because of the criminal mastermind and manipulating beast that he is, plus the guy can shapeshift, so it definitely had to be up there on my list. And last but definitely not least, number 1, Jacqueline Natla. Jacqueline Natla was the first and undoubtedly the biggest antagonist in the whole series. She appears in 3 different games, the original Tomb Raider, Anniversary and Underworld. Natla first appears as a wealthy businesswoman and the owner of Natla Technologies. She hires Lara to obtain a mysterious artifact called the Skion, which is buried deep in the tomb of Qualupec in Peru. On her search of the Skion while in Egypt, Lara encounters these bacon crazy beasts that are called Atlanteans. Later in the game, it is unveiled that Natla is an Atlantean herself who used to rule a peaceful place called, yes, you guessed it, Atlantis, with 2 other guys called Qualupec and Tihucan. Back in the day, like thousands of years ago, Natla, being evil as she is, was planning on creating her own superior race of mutant Atlantean beasts. However, those 2 guys found out her plan and trapped her for eternity by freezing her in a large stone capsule. Thousands of years later, she eventually escaped and started her vendetta to finish what she started. Lara reaches the Great Pyramid of Atlantis and finds the Skion, but before she destroys it, Natla obviously shows up there, confronts Lara, eventually throws her off a ledge, but she also falls and Lara survives. Lara then destroys the Skion, and while she is escaping from the pyramid, she finds out that Natla has not only survived her fall, but turned into her Atlantean form. Lara eventually kills and saves the world from Natla until later in the 2008 Underworld game, where you find out that she is actually not dead. By the end of the game, Lara uses her to open the doors to Avalon, but in the meantime, Natla sees an opportunity to create her army once more, so she takes it until you kill her again. But anyways, Lara Croft's original timeline started and ended with Natla being the villain, therefore, in the end of the day, if it wasn't for Natla's evil plans, we wouldn't have our famous British archaeologists in our lives. And that's why I believe Jacqueline Natla is the best villain in the whole Tomb Raider series. And that's it. These are my top 5 Tomb Raider villains of all time, and I'm curious to know yours. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know your top 5 Tomb Raider villains of all time in the comments below. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and until our next adventure.